Right,
Yep.
morning. Monday morning. And yeah, I think it's the law of the jungle. Yeah? Only the fittest survive. Life in the fast lane. I don't know, Lee. What are we talking about this morning?
Life in the jungle.
Life in the jungle. Jasper's island hopping and running around the world. So clearly he's thriving. So yeah, over to you, Lee.
Thank you. Thank you. You're absolutely right, Ivan. The question is, why do we want other people to thrive? And I've gone over and over this, and obviously there are many reasons. And I've just decided to play devil's advocate today. So sorry, Trevor, you're going to have to be nice today. Because and so the two reasons that I'm coming up with is, one, it's good for business. It's transactional. That if I want to make the best ham sandwich in the world, or at least in my city, then I need somebody to make a great baguette or roll. And then I also need somebody to make great ham, and I need somebody to make great lettuce. And if each of my suppliers do their job and they thrive and they do what they're supposed to do, then I can combine those ingredients and make the best ham sandwich in the world or in my city. So that's the one thing that one reason I would say we want other people to thrive. I think also continuing along devil's advocates, I think we also want other people to thrive because we're selfish. We know that when other people thrive, we are in an environment of positivity, or it feels good. It feels like we are being held, and I think I go back to South Africa 2004 when we hosted the World Cup. Was it I can't remember, 2014, right? Yeah, 2010. How do I forget that? Thank you. And this swell of goodwill and positivity, and this whole country was kind of swept up in this incredible the power of something really good happening, and everybody just felt like we were on top of the world. And so that feeling is something we all want to hold on to, because positivity is catchy, negativity is catchy. And so if we get other people to be positive and to thrive, then we can get caught along and built up through that as well. So those are my, you go now and tell us why we need to thrive and we want other people to thrive.
Thanks, Lee. Yeah, well, I'm not too sure about the way the discussion is starting in the chat box between Steve and Trevor. It looks like we've got a combination of flotsam and cream, and I'm not too sure which one is winning at the moment. But yeah, I think let's go across to Ed first, because I know he loves ham sandwiches. So, so let's see what he has got to take on that one.
There's a saying that says, be careful what you wish for. It's so true, because on Friday I said this would be a good thing to discuss at some point in time. Lee pounced on it, I think because I had a go at her and disagreed with her. And here we are. And I've got no idea what to say, except I don't think Lee's ever worked in catering, because if you're making a ham sandwich, you don't want a baguette or a roll, you want some sliced bread. I thought about this a lot, and I thought, well, is it something to do with preservation of the species? Is it something to, and if it is, then why doesn't everyone do it? And why do we do it with people who are never, ever going to help us? I've helped people, particularly, for example, the children that I help at the charity project. I will never, ever see them again, because for safeguarding reasons, we have no contact with them. So I'm helping people I'll never ever see. I think there is something in that kind of a rising tide lifts all the boats, as Trevor said, because if you look at athletics, you will always find that certain countries will do really well at a particular sport at a particular time. There was a time when the Finns were really good at long distance running. Then it was the Swedish, then it was the Kenyans, and you get this group effect. But I really don't know. And perhaps it's something in our nature. It's something, you know, maybe the psychiatrist would say that it's the sort of equivalent of wanting to murder your father and sleep with your mother or whatever it is. You know, it's some basic need we have. But I think even that's wrong, because some people do it and some people don't. So I really don't know what the answer is. And maybe it's just something that makes us feel good. And it certainly makes me feel good. But it doesn't do me any good, because a lot of the people I do it for, as I say, I never see them again. You know, in a race, in comrades, for example, someone will help you out, you'll help someone out, you'll never see them again. So it can't be self-interest, I don't think. But I've got no idea why at all. And I was hoping today other people will come up with the answers. And yeah, I'll never have a ham sandwich because I'm vegan, of course.
Great, thank you. Yeah, never too sure what's the best thing since sliced bread. Is it a baguette or is it a ham sandwich? I don't know. Yeah. So right, Herman, I think let's come across to you next.
Ivan, can I step back for a couple of minutes? I haven't been part of the last kind of conversation, so I'd like to settle in. Thank you.
Not a problem, right. Okay, then I think we've got to go to Steve next. So Steve, over to you.
I'm just celebrating. I think Ed nailed it. It's the Oedipus and Electra complexes at play. There we go. Problem solved. Sure. On some level, I think I agree with Trevor. I don't think we do holistically want people to thrive. So I think that for me is the start of the question. I do think that there's somewhat of a biological imperative, and there's also a sort of a history of human consciousness imperative around needing others to thrive, in terms of we need in our own personal selves others to thrive. And I think biology also shows us that an interconnectedness is important for survival. But I do think if you look at kind of primitive and tribal and follow on from that, the stages of development of human sort of history, you discover that there comes a limit to the idea of others thriving, because then we start to perceive others as threat. So why do we want others to thrive? I agree with Lee. I think part of it is just selfish survival. I'm not sure I believe in altruism as it's sort of, 100% defined. So I think it's always a mixture of the personal and the relational in terms of our survival and what we're getting our own needs met. Yeah, I'll leave it there for now. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Steve. Right, so Jasper, I think that's pointing at you. So let's come across to you next.
Morning. I think I also struggle with the question, why would we like others to thrive? I think it's, for me, as I think about it and the discussion is whirling around, it's more of a matter of, do I think lack or do I think abundance? If I think lack, I certainly don't want others to thrive, which means they are taking away from me. If I think abundance, my attitude is, again, I want them to become the best they can be, but I'm not going to do it for them. So I think human nature is, you certainly also selfish interest. You don't want people to be hungry on your doorstep, and you have abundance. So you rather want to teach them to also make their own food and grow their own food. Otherwise, it becomes a problem to you. But I think I'm leaning more to the fact, to the thing of, I'm happy that other people thrive, and I would like to empower them on how to thrive. But in many cases, I myself sometimes struggle to thrive. So I can only teach people what I can do. and hope that we get a group of people going forward in the end, helping each other, like that example of the comrades that Edward have shared.
Right, thanks, Jasper. Right, Master, let's get across to you next.
Thanks, and yeah, I think I would like to thrive, and therefore I need others to influence my thriving. I think the reason why we would like other people to thrive is to, I mean, to live harmoniously with others. We know where there is lack, people start to think negative and start to take from others and stuff like that. So when when all of us thrive, we sort of like equalize, and like Jasper said, if you think abundance, if you think there is always enough for everybody, you would always like other people to thrive and then not to suffer. And I think for the better part of my life, I've helped a few people to thrive, but at times, I mean, you help people to thrive with the thinking that, you know, when things go tough for you, maybe one or two of them might come back and help you or something like that, but only to find that you get disappointed in that area. So there is a scripture that consoled me and said, always strive to help. I mean, always strive to help people that you do not expect anything in return from them, so that you get, you know, some form of fulfillment. And I also read a book that says, you know, you get to keep what you give away. The more you give away, the more, you know, you sort of like, whatever you God has blessed you with, you sort of increase it in some way or the other, because you are more used as a conduit to make other people to thrive. So yeah, I think it's always good. It counters jealousy, and for me, you know, people start to believe that there is enough for everybody. So yeah.
Great, thanks, Master. Cecile, let's come across to you next.
Interestingly enough, I was thinking of this. Why, not why do I want people to thrive, but when did I actually help people to get better, thrive, whatever? And I could think of 3 examples in my life. When I was a radiographer, I used to teach all the junior radiographers everything that I knew. Even when I was a senior radiographer, I would teach them all the tricks and tips and things that I learned during the time that I was studying. Not sure why I was doing it, but it's just so nice to see other people succeed. And then when I was doing squash refereeing, as a senior referee, I would always take all the younger people under my wing and teach them everything that I know. But now, in hindsight, I know that if you do that, especially later when we did 3 refereeing and 3 people have to try and see a situation on a squash court in a similar way, so that the group of you actually come out better. So if they thrive, then all of us look good, better together. So that's probably selfish. Boy, am I selfish. And then in the last 15 years, when I started my business, when I got my Zulu PA, when she started working for me, everything that I tried, that I know, that I thought I could teach her, I would teach her. I would send her to courses. She would come to courses with me. I would teach her how to do things in business, all the things that I was doing. The only thing that I never succeeded to do well was to teach her to actually want to do extra sales. But I can go away in my business for a month and leave Zama, and she will run the business. When sales come in, she'll actually do the sales. So maybe that's also a bit selfish, but in the end, if I move away, she will know how to run a business. So maybe, and I feel good that she knows how to do that because she's learned it from me. So possibly that's why. Oh, and when I just when I went back to radiography years ago, years later, after a 10-year break, the junior radiographers used to say to me, Cecile, you are strange because all the other radiographers don't want to teach you everything they know. And then I would say, but why not? By teaching other people what I know, I'm not going to know less. It just means they're going to know more. It's not going to take away anything from me for other people thriving. But yeah, as it said, often this doesn't really come back to me to help me in the end. But like the Bible says, you don't give to take, you give you don't give to get, you just give. That's my idea.
Great, thanks, Cecile. Right, Donovan, let's come across to you.
Yes, morning everyone.
Oh,
yeah, I was just thinking.
You're going to have to speak up a bit, Donovan, I'm afraid.
Okay, I hope it's better now. Yeah, I'm thinking in terms of the relationship between a manager and a subordinate. If you let the subordinate thrive, you have more time available for yourself because you won't have that heavy responsibility over that person. That person will be more independent, and then in turn it will help you to thrive, to maybe move upwards. And as you move upwards, the person below you will be able to take up your space, and so it goes, I think. Obviously in a perfect world, but sometimes it doesn't always happen like that. But that's how I look at it. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Donovan. Umpo, welcome back, and yeah, let's hear your thoughts.
Morning. It's good to be back and to listen to all the stories and to see Steve laughing, and yeah, so thank you. Yeah, so I love this topic. Yeah, my 2 cents worth. I believe that when we thrive, we're just able to do more together. That's been my experience lately. Thank you.
Right, thanks, Umpo. Kevin, let's come across to you next.
Morning all. Bit last minute getting in this morning. Apologies for that. Yeah, thrive. I'd like to start with a quick sentence from the networking world. You help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want. So it is very much, you know, help people to thrive. Otherwise, you're gonna not thrive yourself. Think of it as a big team in the networking world. If the people underneath you and your team don't thrive, your business won't either. In a traditional business, I think it works the same. Because I was just thinking, what's the opposite of thrive? It's possibly struggle. So if people aren't thriving, they would be a struggle, and then as a result, the business would struggle. So yeah, it's to make people thrive. It's got to be beneficial for everyone.
Sorry, my mute button wasn't unmuting me. So thanks, Kevin. I'm Paul Malala. Let's get across to you next.
Hi, good morning again, everyone. Yeah, there's so much to say around this subject. I'll try to keep it tight, though. I keep saying it's a lesson I'm learning from being part of this group. Look, for me, the secret of abundance is in more people thriving. I think we live in the world of scarcity because we've moved more into one being about themselves, which is an oxymoron, because we tend to think that the more I keep, the more I do better, the better position I'm in, whereas the opposite is true, is that the more the others are better, the more the others are in a better position, the more all of us are in a better position. I think that was God's intention of human existence, is to live outward. That's what we define as love, is to live outward. And living outward is a godly exercise. That as much as God was in abundance and he had to create the heavens and the earth and create human beings as an outward living of himself, which is what abundance is. You have so much that you live outside yourself. So that's the first thing. And I think I have this belief that in every child that is born are the solutions to the questions and the problems that we have on earth at that particular time. And some of the problem, we've missed the answers because we have not helped others enough to thrive, because as they thrive, they bring out what the world needs at that moment and at that time. When the Israelites cried to God about the oppression that they were under, it wasn't lightning that came out of heaven and got their shackles off their feet. It was a child who was born. It was a Moses who was born. So Moses was born with the answers to the questions and the cries that Israel had at that particular time in their history. And so for me, helping others to thrive is to release them to do what they are born to do, so that everybody else can have the answers to the questions and the problems and the issues and the difficulties that they have in life. So that's why it's important to help other people to thrive. And again, you help others to thrive not so much because it will come back or that same person will help you. I can't think of anyone I've helped in life that has helped me. But I think of many people in life that I've helped in no way, but they've helped me. I don't know if that makes sense. So you help others to thrive because it's a godlike thing to do. And in doing it, it releases the abundance and the answers to the questions that we have in the world. I hope I've made it clear. I could go on and on about this subject, but in the interest of me learning to be a man of short words, I will keep it at that.
Thanks, Mpumelelo. I think that word count was only about 2,500, so it wasn't a problem at all. No, it's great. Your insights are always fantastic. So please don't cut them down too much, because then we're going to lose your wisdom and your values. So always enjoy your thoughts on the topic. So right, Herman, hopefully you've caught up with us and you're ready to add your thoughts in.
Thanks, Ivan. I think it was Ed who made the remark, it might be human nature, and that is my belief. We wouldn't be where we are if we wouldn't want others and ourselves to thrive. And the cause of that is actually that we as human beings have language, and I'll come back to that in a moment. But I think true parenting is exactly that. We want our children to thrive. And we do everything in our power, as I said, if it's true parenting, in order for them to learn enough that they will thrive in life. And going back to the language thing, language is the tool that enabled human beings to get where they are today, because language allows us to transfer thoughts from our mind into other minds, and no other animal has got that kind of tools available. And through the application of language, we created a life which we enjoy today, which is in many ways, at least for many countries, a very kind of thriving economy, etc., etc. Forget about the handicap through COVID-19 at the moment. But going back, I believe very strongly that it's part of human nature. And I also think, and you could call that selfish, but seeing somebody else or helping somebody else to thrive and grow gives me at least a hell of a satisfactory kind of feeling. Thank you.
Thanks, Herman. Right, Trevor, over to you.
Okay, so I don't think it's natural at all for human beings to want other human beings to thrive. I think that little anecdote that Steve put up there about 2 oranges and 3 people really identifies the base nature of human beings. That in the short term, survival is first and foremost at the top of most human beings' mindsets. And I think what differentiates us from the animal kingdom, etc., is that the rare few who have the ability to think really think about abundance. Most others focus on scarcity in the world, and I think that's our biggest problem, and that scarcity gets people to be doing the things, stealing, corruption, and when you look around, I think we're seeing more and more of that come into play, and that the rarity is people of abundance mindset who want other people to thrive, who recognize that by helping society to progress, it raises all those boats. So I will keep on going with that, but it's up to the rare few to do that. And if you have a look at all of these BLM movements and groups of people who get together in unionized movement and all that sort of thing, what are they trying to do? They maintain that what they're trying to do is lift the poor people at the bottom of the world that I think have got more entitlement in their mindset. And to do that, they look to bring the people down that have helped the world to progress. I put that down to survival playing out way more than thrival. In a debate with Steve and with Herman as to, well, look at the impact on the world from these people who are mega billionaires, etc. So listen, as I'm talking this thing through, I'm arguing against myself, but I still believe that it is the rare few who recognize that abundance is about helping others to thrive, and it's not a natural thing at all. In a few words.
Thanks, Trevor. So I think while you're arguing with yourself, you confused the rest of us. So yeah, not too sure which direction.
I have a very interesting day with myself every day.
Well, it's like Oscar Wilde once said when the hostess of a party came to him and said to Mr. Wilde, "Are you enjoying yourself?" He said, "Yes, thank you, madam, I am. There's no one else here to enjoy." So, so yeah, you got to sometimes wonder about these things. But anyway, I think you're just all on drugs. I mean, I think it's quite simple. It comes down to dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and endorphins. You know, people have said it, but they haven't recognized the fact that it's all about those drugs. It just makes you feel good. So yeah, I think for me, that's what it comes down to. It doesn't really matter about anything else. So on that note, Lee, I think over to you.
Well, thanks everyone. It really is good just to get the brain cells going. You know, you do feel it sparks that thinking, and so you feel more alive, and then you listen to other people, and that sparks more thoughts, and so hopefully what we're doing here is thriving in some way or another, and we're all benefiting, which makes us all feel good. So it's a completely wonderful, virtuous cycle.
All about the drugs, as I said, yeah, makes you feel good.
Drugs, all good. Thanks, Ivan. So tomorrow, Trevor reminded me that we had started just asking people to share with us an article that they had written, maybe at some time in their past, and if that was something that they could share with us to stimulate our thinking going forward. So and I'm not sure exactly who has shared an article, but is there somebody here that has an article that they've written that they would like to read out for us, and that will prompt the discussion for tomorrow? Or another article?
I think we got the man with the fancy background who we should pick on. So yeah, you know, he's told us about these
about
these journals of his. So pick a date in the year, Jasper, and give us some insights into the workings of the mind of Mr. Klute. Are you up for that?
You have been volunteered. Thanks, Jasper. That would be wonderful.
Great. Okay, folks. Have a fantastic Monday, and we look forward to finding about the inner workings of Jasper's mind tomorrow morning, and looking forward to that. So have a good one, and we see you all tomorrow. Go well.